All right, welcome to another webinar. My name's Jason. I'm the CEO and founder of Tarvent, and I've got Derek with me. Let you introduce yourself.
How's it going? Yeah, I'm one of the main front end people on the Tarvent team, among other things. If you've reached out to support, most likely you've talked to me. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
always good to put a name or a face with a name. So, all right, so we're going to kind of change the format of our webinars a little bit. Take too long. We want to make these a lot shorter. So, we're going to kind of get to the point on some things and see if we can shorten these up. It seems like the shorter they are, the more people watch. It seems like that's what people want. So, we're hoping for the best here. So, as for, let's see, so I guess we can get started and talk about company updates. Biggest thing, Active Pieces is live. We see integrations going with that. So people are actively using it. So it seems like it's going pretty well so far. So we're happy to see that. Otherwise, we've been kind of no new things yet. There's just been a lot of either bug fixes or performance enhancements, that sort of thing. But we're just we're working on integrations right now. So that's one of the biggest things. Two things: working on integrations and some AI stuff that's going to be coming online hopefully soon. So anyway, that's kind of where we are for company updates, but we are definitely moving. Just doesn't feel like it because you're not seeing new stuff released all the time, but we're making progress.
Yeah.
Anything you
Yeah.
wanted to add to that?
One of the things we're working on is we're working on making the UI more user friendly. So we've gotten a lot of feedback from you guys as our customers on things that we could do to reduce the amount of clicks or just make the platform easier to use. So that's also in the works right now. And it's all customer driven. We're not making any changes that haven't been requested by a customer. So those changes
Sure.
should be going live pretty soon. But yeah, we're also working on making the platform easier.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Reducing clicks is one of the big things. And yeah. So anyway, all right. So kind of get into the blog, talk about some of the latest things. So the latest blog released Thursday was 10 stats that prove marketing automation works. I did look into our system to kind of see how many people are using automations versus not, and the number is a lot lower than we thought it would be. People aren't using automations yet. I know it's a newer thing, but it looks like we're roughly about 30%. So we're hoping to see more people using automations, especially with these webinars. So with that, we've got some statistics that we'll go over, and Derek, I'll let you kind of kick it off with kind of your thoughts on the blog, and then I'll follow you up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to go through all the stats. I'll just pull some that I thought were pretty important. And again, if you want to see all these stats, you can go into our blog. It's just tarvent.com. You can click blog at the top. But anyway, so the number one stat that stood out to me is that 91% of top marketers call automation very important. So this is from, I don't remember the exact source of this stat. I'd have to go look. But anyways, they did a survey with the top marketers just in the industry to see what they deem as important for your marketing flow. And automation ranked as one of the most important things in that survey. So it just goes to show that the top marketers in the space, the top players in the industry are using automation. So it definitely should be something that you look into if you haven't already looked into it. And based off what Jason's saying, that 30% in our tool that's using automation, that's great. But we'd really like to see that number get up to 90% or 100%, honestly, because automation can save you a ton of time, and that's what we built Tarvent for, is to save you time. So yeah, automation is just essential to your marketing flow. And then another thing that I thought was interesting is email is the top channel used for automation. So a lot of automations, they'll have stuff to kind of organize your contacts, but the main source of communication is still email. And it could be just because it's the cheapest, but honestly, it's just the most effective. If you look at ROI for email versus SMS or email versus push notifications, email just always comes out on top because it's so cheap to send an email, and the conversions are just insane. So that was just another interesting stat to kind of just reiterate what we tell our customers. Just email is always the top channel. So just in your automation, make sure to incorporate that email, which in our system makes that really easy to do. So then the other stat I want to call out, I'll just go with my top three, is that 119% higher click rates with automated emails. So this kind of goes back to the blog we posted, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago now, but it's just kind of email blasts versus automated emails, and what's the benefit of both. And so automated emails are based on behavior. So it's a person fills out a form on your website, they click a link in an email, you're going to send them a follow-up email right after they perform that event. So when you send an email like that, the chances that you're going to get a click from that email are much higher than if you were to send an email blast every week to the new people that signed up, for example. So kind of just to reiterate that automation is important, is just, those automated emails, 119% higher click rates than email blasts or just other emails. So that was kind of my take, the stats that I kind of popped out for me the most, the ones that I like the most.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stats in there. I'm not going to go over all of them like you. Just probably the biggest one I want to say is that the conversion rate is about 77% higher with automation. So, that's the name of the game with email marketing is you're trying to get people to convert. You're trying to get them to do something, to know who you are and interact with your company in some way, shape, or form. So a 77% higher conversion rate. You can't really beat that. And there's no additional cost in Tarvent to use automation. So you get all the features. It's one price. There's only one plan, so you get every feature with that plan. So why not use automations? It's there. It's free. And you just have to learn how to set it up, which hopefully it's pretty easy to do. So we've given a lot of examples on that, but it should be pretty straightforward and easy to get through. And with all these stats, and there's many more in the blog, there's no reason to not get started with automation. So hopefully we report on this later on. We see that, like Derek said, we're up to 90% of our accounts that are using automation in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, so with that, check out our blog. It's a great blog. It has a lot of stats, gives you a whole lot of reasons to use automation, and hopefully will eliminate a lot of the excuses that you've had to not use it. So with that, kind of jump into our Q&A and going over some of the questions that we've had asked within the system. And so we'll just kind of jump into that. So the first question is the DMARC record for my sending domain shows a check mark, but not the badge. Why? So I'll go over this one, and then Derek, I'll let you take the next one. So the DMARC record, you set up a DMARC record. We give you a default record, which the policy is set to none. So with a policy set to none, that means that even if DMARC fails, the email is still going to go through. The goal is to get the policy from none to quarantine to reject. So you want to get to reject. If you set your policy to reject, then you're going to get that badge. So this all goes back to how you set up your domain. So we definitely want you to use a subdomain. And we've kind of learned when we say subdomain, this is something actually Derek's going to talk about with the next question. You want to be careful on that, on how you set up that subdomain, because some ISPs do some unique things when you actually set up a subdomain versus a normal record. But anyway, so that's how you get the badge, is you change DMARC, you change the P equals none to P equals reject, and you will get the badge.
Yeah, kind of just expanding on that too, is just before you change your DMARC policy to, and you can actually get the badge if it's quarantine or rejected. It can be one of those two. But before you change that, you need to make sure to have that CNAME in there, or else your emails won't get delivered. So actually, Jason, can you share my screen? Just kind of give a visual.
Oh yeah, we'll kind of go over that here.
Yeah, and I think it's zoomed in enough. Yeah. So kind of like what I was talking about is this last CNAME record in here, where it's your subdomain and it goes to this mx.share 2023 trvt.io. So before you can change your policy to quarantine or reject, you have to have the CNAME, or else it will cause deliverability issues. So I just wanted to call that out just to make sure you don't see this and then you change your DMARC policy and all of a sudden your emails are having issues. So yeah, just make sure to set this last CNAME up before you change that policy. And I think that leads into the next question that we got, is that my DNS provider won't let me add a CNAME for my sending domain. Why? So we've run into this issue a couple times. And it kind of just depends on who you're using as your web host. Each web host is different on how you set things up. But kind of what Jason was talking about earlier is a lot of DNS or a lot of web hosts will give you an option to add a subdomain. Like they'll have a button that says add subdomain, you give a subdomain and it does its thing. The problem when you do that is that your web host, it's not just adding DNS records, it's creating a website for that subdomain behind the scenes. And so when they create a website behind the scenes, they create something called an A record, which is going to get pretty technical, but an A record, which basically tells the internet where to go when someone goes to that subdomain. So anyways, if you add a subdomain that way through your web host, then you won't be able to add this last CNAME record that we're asking about, because it's going to try to go to that website. And when you add the CNAME, that's basically telling the internet, when you go to email.breckworks.com, go to this URL. So if you have your subdomain going to a different website, then there's conflicts. So you can't have an A record and a CNAME record for the same subdomain. So if you run into that issue, you can reach out to support. We'll help you. But the first thing I'd check is just to make sure you didn't create a subdomain website. The easiest way to think about this is just look at these DNS records, go to your base domain that you already have set up, and just add those DNS records to your base domain. Don't go through your web host to create a subdomain and then add the records. And that will avoid any of this confusion. And I know I use a lot of technical terms because DNS and A records, CNAME records. But yeah, just to simplify it, use your existing DNS to add these records. Don't create a new subdomain in your web host if they give you the option.
Yeah. I mean, technically it's called a subdomain, but web hosts are trying to make it easy for you to create subdomains within their world. So they just do things a little bit different that we don't want them to do. So anyway, yeah. All right. So next question on here. I scheduled a campaign, but I need to make changes. How do I do that? So in Tarvent, once you schedule a domain, that domain is, let me try that again. Once you schedule a campaign, not a domain. So once you schedule a campaign to be sent, so a campaign, for those that don't know, a campaign is just an email that's going to go out to your entire audience or a subset of your audience based on either segmentation or grouping or whatever you're doing. So when you schedule that campaign is now locked. So if you need to make changes to it, the best thing you can do, and I think Derek's got this up. So best thing you could do, or really the only thing right now you could do, is to stop the campaign, which if it's in the process of being sent, either scheduled for tomorrow or later today or next week or what have you, if it's in the process of being sent, then you can stop it. And once you stop it, then you can copy the campaign, create a new version of it, and then make your changes and send that one out. But you're not going to be able to make changes to a campaign that's already been scheduled. So you're going to want to stop it, create a new version of it, which we've got an option in there to do with the more menu with the 3 dots. So you'll be able to save as a new campaign and then take it from there, make whatever changes, and then do a send again. So in the future, we're hoping to make that a little bit easier, but for right now, that's how that works. So then I'll just get the next one. I'll let you get the last two, Derek. But so the next one is, how do I add UTM parameters to my campaign links? So again, this is one. Obviously, you're going to want to do that before you schedule a campaign. But if you go into your campaign and then you click on settings over at the bottom left, within there, you're going to be able to go ahead and set up your UTM parameters. And those get attached to every link within the email. So other than like an email link, you won't get added to those. But to a normal link that goes out to a website or what have you, you can add those parameters on, and that will just add it to all links. Now, if you want to have custom parameters per link within your email, you're going to have to do that manually. So you won't want to go through the settings area. When you create the link, you'll manually add those different UTM parameters on. But that will allow you to have different UTM parameters per link within the campaign. Otherwise, like I said, you can go to settings and set that up there, and then all links will have those UTM parameters. And for those that don't know, UTM parameters, I should have clarified that up front. UTM parameters are just used by like Google and Adobe, and it's used for website tracking, so they can get information to track how people got to your website, from what information, and those UTM parameters provide that information that makes your website analytics a little more rich with data. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So then, yeah, let's see. The next question. I have a phone number input on my form, but when I test submitting the form, it says the number is invalid. Why? Yeah, so our form validation checks the phone numbers to ensure they are valid when you submit the form. So we use a third-party service that does that check. And so we've had a lot of customers, or I shouldn't say a lot, we've had a couple of customers reach out because they're going through the form. They put in a phone number like all zeros, for example. And so because it's all zeros, the library that we use to do that check knows that that's not a valid phone number. And so because of that, it's going to fail it saying that the phone number is invalid because it's not a legitimate phone number. So if you run into that error, just test with an actual phone number and then it'll work. But yeah, the reason why, if you're submitting your form and you're testing it, just putting in a bogus phone number, the reason it's failing is because of that third-party service that we use to do that check. So yeah, that's about it for that one.
If you guys want to change that, nobody's asked yet, but if you want to turn that validation off, right now we don't have the option, but it'd be great to let us know if you want to turn that validation off, so you can let people put in whatever phone number they want. Let us know. We can add an option to that. If we get the request for it, then we can add an option to take care of that.
Yeah, that is definitely, we love customer feedback. So anytime we can get it, we definitely appreciate it because that helps us make the platform better for you guys. So then the last question is, how can I identify new contacts in Tarvent? And this is a cool one because when you create your account, we automatically add a journey to your account. So the journey is called My New Contacts. I'll just go into here so we can see what it looks like. So when you create your account, you'll go to the journey list page and you'll see a journey that's called My New Contacts. So I'll explain what this journey does because it's exactly for this. So all this journey does is says when a contact is added to your audience, so the default audience that's created with your account. So when a contact is added to that audience, add the new tag. And then after 30 days, it'll remove that new tag. So then basically this automation just tells you what contacts were added within the last 30 days. So if you want to send a campaign to all those new contacts, or you want to do segmentation based off all those new contacts, or dynamic content or whatever, then this automation allows you to do that through tags. So we added this as a default journey because it's something that a lot of customers use. It's something very useful to identify those new contacts. So yeah, that's the easiest way to identify new contacts within your account, is just to use this My New Contacts journey.
Yeah, and the wait time of 30 days, that can be changed. If you click on the wait node, then you can change that to 14 days if you want, or 7 days, or 5, or whatever it is that you want to change it to. You can do that. And we just default it with a tag called new, and then we remove that tag called new. But all this is configurable by you, so you can go in and change this to whatever you want. But it's a really quick journey. Like Derek said, it's extremely handy, especially for if you're going to tie this in with like a welcome series or what have you. You can do that, and this journey would add that tag. And once the tag's added, then your welcome series can start up and go from there. So a lot of things you can do with this. But yeah, it's a simple one, and we create it within your account right away. So it's in there from the get-go. So with that, it's all the questions we have for today. So again, we're trying to keep these this webinar short. So as usual, we have an affiliate program. We'd love to have you sign up for our affiliate program. You get a free Sandbox account. You do have limitations on the Sandbox account as far as how many emails you could send out. But with the affiliate program, you can get anywhere from 20 to 30% commission for the life of the account. So it's a great way to add an additional revenue stream and great way to help out your audience with a fantastic email marketing platform that has really good automation features in it. So also want you to like and subscribe, that way you're notified when our webinar is about to start, and we can keep you updated on what's going on. And then as usual, please submit your questions. You can submit them to support. You can submit them on our website. You can, we've got a form on our website or through support, or if you're logged into Tarvent, then you can submit questions there. So we've got plenty of ways. We're also on all the different social media platforms. So please follow us there. Lets us know that we've got support and we can keep you updated with our latest blogs and tips and whatnot. And we appreciate you guys watching the webinar. As usual, our next webinar is going to be next Tuesday, the 10th. Actually, today's the 10th. So it'll be next Tuesday, the 17th. So next Tuesday, the 17th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'll let you figure out what time that is in your time zone. And we thank you for joining us and can't wait to talk to you guys next week.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.